All right, welcome to this week's Motivational Monday. I will tell you, when you establish minimum standards, you can dramatically improve your efficiency and your profitability. That's simple. Now, let me explain to you where this came from. We have weekly mastermind calls with all our students, but I personally work with the High Six and the Chairman's Group, which is by invite only. We won't even see that on my website. And we try to work on things that we hear in the community. It's not like we have a certain agenda. It's very, very organic. In one particular week, I tag team the coaching with the High Six with Brian O'Neill from Chicago. He was a student just like you who just has excelled beyond the norm, and you'll see him in a lot of our videos now. So we always get together before the High Six calls and say, hey, sort of what are you hearing this week? Like, what should we work on? And what we realized is some of the people that were reporting to us, because we have reporting people every single night, some people that are more serious and committed literally text us, voice text every night and go, here's my metrics, here's what I accomplished, here's my challenge, here's my win. And we realized for some reason for about a 2-week span, some people were saying to us, hey, I didn't hit my numbers, I had this many dials, and it was driving us crazy. So we got on and here's what we talked about. And I want to share it with you so you kind of get a glimpse without being in the mastermind call. We talked about establishing minimum standards. And let me just define that. Minimum standards are not, hey, this is my goal, I hope to get there. Like one of the students, I won't tell you their name, said, minimum standard, 20 calls a day, 20 dials. And he reported one day, I did 16. And didn't say anything that was wrong. So I called him, or I did a voice text back, and I said, hey, you told me 20. 4 dials would have taken you literally about a minute. If someone answered, maybe 4 minutes. So a minimum standard is something, I said to him and to the group, that you absolutely will not go below. It's not a goal. So that means, in my case, how I used to do it is I would have a minimum standard for the week and for the day. My minimum standard for the week would say, if I don't hit my calls for the 4 days, Monday through Thursday, my penalty, I penalize myself by saying I got to go in Friday and do calls versus a nice loose admin day. Or I got to go in Saturday morning. Or I have to go in at what I used to call off hours, being at night. That's what a minimum standard means. Then we take the minimum standard, because this business is so predictable, because we have so much history, I'm in my 32nd year now, and we have students all over the country, there's enough metrics to know that, hey, if you do A, B, it leads to C, it leads to D, and so on and so forth. It's that predictable. So, okay, so if we know the metrics and we help you establish a minimum standard that'll help you get to your goals, and then we align the goals with some built-in accountability, in this case, they were High Six, so they get access to us daily, and then to top it off, we have all that fit into your calendar. Let me give you an example of how that works. So you know your minimum standard of numbers. You know what your goals are. You know what it takes to make those dials in this case. There's other things that go into this, working out, eating properly, etc. But the appointments in your calendar will dictate your activities. Forget a to-do list. Forget all that. If you live by your calendar and your minimum standards and your accountability are all tied to that, you can't mess up. You can't call and go, yeah, I fell short. You won't fall short because your calendar will tell you have to be there. And let me use a kind of a somewhat negative example. God forbid if something happened to you or a family member and you had to go to the doctor and you had that doctor appointment in your calendar that was very serious and you couldn't miss it, would you ever think about missing it? Would you ever think about coming in late? Would you ever think about leaving that appointment early? No. So treat your appointment with yourself in your calendar that allows you to hit your minimum standards. Treat it like gold, like it is rock solid and you can't miss that appointment. When you tie all these things together, minimum standards, aligning your goals, accountability, calendar, all that, you will have dramatically different results like this week. So there's some bunch of nuggets there for you to take action on, and I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know how this sat with you. I'd like to know what happened when you tried it. Did you nail all of it? Did you do a little bit of it? What kind of results did you get? Were you frustrated? Email me. I want to hear from you. Chris@smartrealestatecoach.com. And if you want to hang out with these people, by the way, when I say these people, these students that I work with every single week and every single day in some cases, you want to hang out with them? Come visit us at our next event. We do 2 live events a year. One is in March and one is in September. The websites are simply, the March event is the wickedsmartsummit.com and the September event is qlslive.com. I'd love to meet you in person. In the meantime, look forward to your personal email, chris@smartrealestatecoach.com.